Snake. Oh, looks good. Roger. I've got a blowout. Neighbor 3. Get your pitch to 0. Pitch is out. I can't hold altitude. Correction. Alpha hold is off. Prep selectors emergency. Flight comm. I can't hold it. She's breaking up. She's breaking.
Steve Austin, astronaut. A man barely alive.
This is my bumper music.
We can rebuild him. We have the technology. We have the capability to make the world's first bionic man. Steve Austin will be that man. Better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster.
Right. So anyway, I want to talk a little bit today about what we perceive as bills, getting bills in the mail, and we're being billed, and what we think is a bill is actually a statement. So any kind of a correspondence regarding a bill that you receive in the mail from corporations, including the United States Corporation. So if everything commercial is a trust since 1933, because lawful money was taken out of circulation, then a bill cannot be a bill. They cannot be charging anyone for anything since they know we have no money to pay for anything. So what we think is money isn't actually lawful money, it's promise to pay. Promise to pay what? Promise to pay, promise to pay. If that makes any sense. So checks and all liabilities, currency, are promises to pay and essentially are a dishonor because payment is delayed. However, in commerce, this mistake can be forgiven. So then what is a bill? Logically, it must be a request for us to authorize the release of assets held in our trust by the trustee as the payment, which is asset, credit, liability, debt equals 0. This payment by equitable title transfer results in the extinguishment of debt. Notice that the amount on the bill is a positive number, which is a credit. It does not have parentheses around it or a minus sign in front of it, which commonly would indicate a negative number. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I have an account and I owe a certain amount, in order to bring the account up to 0, it would be a negative number that I owed, right? $50 minus 50, I give you the 50 and then it brings me back up to 0. But what they're actually doing is they're sending you the credit. We'll get into that. So the positive number represents an asset that will offset a liability held by the corporation for the commercial transaction. They just need our authorization, endorsement on the back of the bill to get ownership of that asset amount so that they can then apply it to discharge the liability on their books for that same amount. We have the equitable title to that amount. When we endorse the back of a bill, then the legal and equitable titles to the asset, which is the credit, are now vested in that one piece of paper. And when that endorsement instrument is returned to the party that sent it, then the party is now the holder in due course of the legal and equitable titles to both the asset and the liability amounts for the account and must then extinguish the debt by operation of law. The corporation is already holding both legal and equitable titles to the liability. They're also holding the legal title to the asset as implied by them sending you the bill. The U.S. corporation and all sub-corporations hold legal titles to all assets since 1933 and are trustees or agents thereof per the purpose and intent of the House Joint Resolution 192, June 5, 1933 Trust, codified in 31 U.S.C. 5118. The only thing they are missing is the equitable title to the asset so that they can finally do the discharge to balance the books and extinguish the debt. They have the charge, debit, or debt amount. They just need the discharge, the credit and the asset amount to balance the books to 0. Having both of the titles for the asset credit amount now allows them to use that asset credit amount to perform their duty as trustees to extinguish or discharge the liability debt amount by operation of law. The trust laws that are invoked when the legal and equitable titles are merged. So a bill is not a bill, it's an asset credit voucher containing the credit amount that we must release to the trustee or agent thereof by endorsing the back of the bill and returning it. This is the duty that the beneficiaries or agents thereof have been failing to perform. It's called accepted for value. Do a banker's acceptance. There's no money to pay anything anyway. You'll notice they'll always have you tear something off the bottom, and it'll usually have routing numbers and an account number on the bottom. They're sending you the check. You, as the owner of the trust or the human, the surety for the security that are held in trust, are the only one that can sign that. Corporations can't sign anything. There is no money, so you're acting as the banker or the person that's the transmitting utility. Just sign it and send it back to them with a cover letter and explaining what you're doing. And if you want to get deep into it, then you can do all your IRS forms that allow you to show what they're sending you, the remittance. Look up remittance in a Black's Law Dictionary. It's a species of money. So send them back the remittance, which is income to you. And you want to show that on your 1040. Do a payment voucher. But what we have to understand is that when you're born, they set up a trust in your name, and it resides within the federal zone. Now, the federal zone is in the District of Columbia. It's a corporation. It's a 10-mile square area where your person resides. That's like if you have a zip code where you live. That zip area is in the federal zone, which means it's inside the District of Columbia in a federal zone. So any correspondence that you get in your name in all capital letters with a zip code is responding to your corporation that's housed inside the federal zone. It's not real. It's an illusion. It's a fiction. So you need to wrap your head around how all this works. Is that your corporation resides in a federal zone. It's not real, but you're acting as the transmitting utility and the surety for the securities that are used by the federal corporation to operate and continue doing business. So the tricks and everything that everybody needs to learn is a new kind of a new paradigm shift. So go to stopthepirates.blogspot.com and check it all out. You'll be amazed.